Drips and clogs, shorts and frays. If there's one thing you can't escape, either as a homeowner or a retail employee, it's solving plumbing and electrical problems. Take a quick trip down any aisle in your plumbing and electrical departments and you'll see a wide variety of replacement parts. That's because practically everything in a house centers around items from these two departments. And when something breaks, your customers rely on you to help them solve the problem. This month, we'll take a look at some basic plumbing and electrical problems and provide you with some valuable tips that'll help your customers solve them quickly. Let's start with one of the most common plumbing problems, clogs. Now, when a customer comes in with a clog, it's important that you ask your customer where he thinks the clog is before recommending an item to fix it. There are a number of different types of items to help clear clogs, and each has a different application in which it should be used. If the clog is located in a drain or pipe, your customer should first try to clear it using a standard plunger. If the plunger doesn't open up the drain, the next step is to get directly at the clog by using an auger or snake. Now, here are some tips to pass along about clearing clogs and drains and pipes. First and foremost, never use a plunger if chemical clearers were added to the drain pipes. Splashing water can cause skin burns and severe eye injuries. Second, make sure that overflow drains are stopped up with wet rags before plunging. For sinks with two drains, cover up one of the openings and plunge the other. This ensures that the pressure applied with the plunger will push out the clog and not be released through the drain in the other sink. And third, once the overflow drain or other sink is plugged, run enough water into the sink to cover the cup, providing a better seal around the cup. Now, if plunging a couple of times doesn't clear the clog, your customer will need to open up the trap and get directly at the clog. Placing a bucket underneath the trap catches any water or debris when the trap is removed. Once it's open, an auger or snake can be slipped into the pipe to clear clogs further down in the pipe system. As the snake encounters resistance, slide the handle up and lock it, then spin it clockwise. Continue feeding more of the snake in and keep spinning until the snake moves freely in the pipe. When it does, simply pull the snake out of the pipe and into the bucket. There should be debris at the end of the snake. Once the trap and drain is reassembled, use the plunger on the sink again to force out any remaining pieces of the clog still in the pipes. Now, if the customer's clog is in a toilet, you need to recommend a different type of plunger. Toilet plungers have funnel cups, which provide a better seal. If plunging doesn't work, your customer will need to use a special type of auger called a closet auger. Clearing toilet clogs should be approached in a similar way to clearing pipe clogs. Plunge first. If plunging dislodges the clog, any extra water remaining in the bowl should drain down to a normal level. Now, this can be tested by pouring in a bucket of water. Never flush the toilet before testing that the clog is cleared, because if it isn't, the toilet could flood the bathroom. If it seems to be draining properly, flush it a few times to make sure that the debris is completely washed down. Now, if plunging doesn't clear the clog, your customer should use a closet auger. It's specifically designed to clear traps in toilets, and it already has a bend in it to match the first curve of the trap. Using a closet auger is similar to using a snake for straight pipes. Once the clog is broken up, test the drainage with a bucket of water before flushing. Another common type of plumbing problem is leaks. Leaks can happen anywhere in a home, and they usually require a quick fix before completely repairing the problem. Start by turning off the water to the pipe with a leak and mop up any excess water. To fix a small leak in a straight line of pipe, place a sleeve clamp and a sheet of rubber over the pipe, and then tighten the clamp screws. Mixing and applying moldable two-part epoxy will temporarily fix leaky joints. And for leaks in non-pressurized drain pipe, customers can wrap plumber's rubber tape directly over the leak, as well as about an inch above and below the leaking area. Now, since it is winter, you should also be prepared for questions about frozen pipes. The first thing your customers should do if their pipes freeze is to shut off the water supply and open a faucet nearest to the frozen pipes. Now, if a customer doesn't know where exactly the frozen blockage is and the suspected pipes are exposed, she can do a simple test to check. Run a moist rag along the length of the pipe. Frost will form on the frozen section. Once the frozen section is identified, warm the pipe with a hair dryer, starting on the end nearest the faucet and advancing the dryer along the pipe about a foot per minute. Hold the hair dryer about 6 inches from the pipe and wave it back and forth to heat the pipe evenly. Now, this method can even be used to heat frozen pipes that aren't exposed but are in walls. If the pipes have frozen because your customer's electricity is out, the best option is to shut off the water supply and wait for the electricity to be restored. Chances are, when the power comes back on and heat returns, the frozen pipes will thaw by themselves. Steps can also be taken to prevent pipes from freezing. Allow a small amount of water to trickle down from faucets near pipes that are vulnerable to freezing. The movement of the running water will prevent ice from forming. But of course, the best prevention step is to properly insulate your pipes. Now, what about electrical problems? The first thing to understand about customers seeking help for electrical problems is that most of them will be hesitant about working with electricity. And you really can't blame them. Working with electricity can be dangerous. That's why you need to share safety tips and recommend items like continuity testers that help minimize the risk. A common problem customers with older homes face is blown fuses. Fuses work just like circuit breakers do in newer homes. They protect fixtures and wiring by turning off the power if the circuit becomes overloaded. There are two types of fuses: cartridge fuses and screw-in fuses. When a customer comes in with a blown fuse, identify which type of fuse is needed and then select a replacement fuse with the exact same amperage rating. Most ratings are listed on the side of the fuse, with 15 and 20 amps being the most common types. You should also take a moment to look at the fuse being replaced. If the window on the fuse is blackened, that means the fuse short-circuited. But if the fuse has a clear window, that means the circuit was overloaded, and this should be mentioned to your customer. Overloaded circuits could cause electrical fires, but can easily be corrected by moving a fixture to a plug wired into a different circuit. Another easy do-it-yourself repair is replacing plugs. The ends of cords can be easily damaged, and it's important that they be repaired properly. Most cord ends these days are molded plastic, which require cutting off the damaged portion and then attaching the replacement. Start by stripping about 3/4 of an inch off the ends of the two wires. If the wires appeared frayed, twist the strands together tightly. Now the wires need to be attached to the replacement plug. Attach the wire with the ridge to the silver neutral terminal. Then attach the other wire to the opposite terminal. The final step is to work the cover back down onto the core. Now, if the customer is working with a ground plug, he'll follow pretty much the same procedure, but will have 3 wires to work with. Cut off the old plug and strip the ends of the wire. If the cord has an outer sheathing of insulation, strip back about 1.5 inches of the insulation with a utility knife and cut it off. This reveals the 3 wires inside. Working one by one, strip about 3/4 of an inch off of each wire. Now, feed the cord through the plug from the back and then connect the wires. The green wire goes to the green screw. The white wire goes on the silver terminal, and the black wire goes around the brass screw. With all of the wires securely attached, put the cover over the plug and screw down the cable clamps. Another common type of do-it-yourself electrical project is repairing a lamp. Now, since lamps are somewhat complex with a number of parts that could be the cause of the problem, you should remind customers to spend some time up front troubleshooting the problem. This will help focus their repair efforts. Before doing any work on the lamp, make sure that it's unplugged. Never work on a lamp that is plugged in, even if it's turned off. One of the most common problems is a poor connection between the base of the light bulb and the contact in the bottom of the socket. See if the contact is corroded or pushed down into the base. Then scrape off the contact with a screwdriver, pry it up a little, then screw in a light bulb and plug the lamp in. If it works, the problem's solved. But if it doesn't, further troubleshooting is required, starting by removing the socket. Most sockets have a press marking on the upper cover. Squeezing the cover allows access to the interior of the socket. Sometimes lamps fail because the wires have come loose from the terminals, so check and make sure that they're securely fastened. If the wires look fine, the next thing to troubleshoot is the cord. Remove the wires from the screw terminals and use a continuity tester to check the cord. Testing should show 2 things. First, there should be no continuity between the ends of the 2 wires or between the 2 prongs of the plug. And second, there should be continuity between 1 wire and 1 prong and between the other wire and the other prong. If testing fails either of these, then there's a short circuit somewhere in the wire or plug and it should be replaced. If, however, there isn't a problem with the plug, then all possibilities have been eliminated and the socket will have to be replaced. Be sure that the replacement socket matches the original. Once the old socket's removed, simply reattach the wires to the new one. Make sure that the bare wires are twisted tightly before attaching them to the screw terminals. Once the socket's attached, put it inside of the sleeve and put the sleeve into the cover. The final step is to push the cover back down on the base, making sure that the switch is oriented in the correct direction. Then plug it in and see if it works. As we discussed earlier, practically everything in a house is in some way related to plumbing and electrical systems. By understanding common applications and familiarizing yourself with a variety of repair parts and tools available, you'll ensure that your customers will be able to handle all of their drips, clogs, shorts, and frays.